Today we come to the 8th chapter. With the 7 previous chapters, the author of the manual explained to us the 4 ultimate realities and their categories. So now we know the 4 ultimate truths, the 4 ultimate realities, and then the categories are different names of those 4 ultimate realities, and also how they are related to each other. Now in this 8th chapter, the author explained to us the law of cause and effect, or the law of conditionality. And with regard to the law of conditionality, we need to understand 3 things. The first one is called paccaya in Pali. And the second one is paccayuppanna. And the third one is paccaya sati. The first one, paccaya. You have met this word many times. Say hetu paccayo, aramana paccayo, and so on. So paccaya means cause or condition. Normally paccaya would mean condition, but here paccaya is understood to have the meaning of both cause and condition. And cause or condition here means both producing cause and supporting cause. So there are 2 kinds of causations or 2 kinds of conditioning. One is producing the effect, and the other is supporting the effect which has been produced by other karma. So the supporting or maintaining power of a certain reality is called the paccaya. Actually, here paccaya means those that have this power of causation, or this power of maintaining. So they are, in the manual, they are described by the words of the conditioned states. The next one is paccayuppanna. That means those that arise dependent upon conditions or causes. So in brief, the effect or fruits. They are the ones that arise depending upon some other condition, or they may be produced by some cause. Now, the paccaya comprises all cetas, cetasikas, and material phenomena or material qualities, except the last 4 of the 28. And paccayuppanna, or those that are conditioned, or conditioned phenomena, I'm talking the other way around. The conditioned states, Paccayuppana, comprises all cetas, cetasikas, and material properties, except the last four. And the Paccaya comprises all conditioned phenomena, that means cetas, cetasikas, rupas, as well as nibbana and concepts or paññatti. So everything is included in Paccaya. But in the Paccayuppanas, only cetas, cetasikas, and some material properties are included. And Paccaya, Paccaya Sati, or the force that operates between the conditioning states and the conditioned states, is called Paccaya Sati. Now, Sati means force or power. In fact, it is understood to be the way of relationship, how cause and effect are related. Now, when we say this is a cause, this is a fact, we also have to understand how the cause and effect are related, in what way they are related. And there are 24 such relations taught in the book of Patthana in Abhidhamma. So with regard to the causation, we need to understand these three things. Paccaya, cause or condition; Paccayuppana, effect, or those that are conditioned or that are caused, that are supported; and also Paccaya Sati, the force of conditioning, or the power of conditioning, or the way and the conditioning and conditioned are related. In this chapter, two important teachings are given. The first one is, as you know, Paticca-samuppada. It is translated as dependent origination or dependent arising, or sometimes dependent co-arising, or maybe there are some other names. And the second is patthana, or causal relations. Although both these teachings teach the conditionality, the way they teach is different. Paticca-samuppada is the method of dependent arising marked by the simple happening of a state in dependence on some other state. This is what is translated there. So this means Paticca-samuppada states just the conditioning factor and conditioned factors. That means Paticca-samuppada will teach us B arises dependent upon A, and C arises dependent upon B, D arises dependent upon C, and so on. So Paticca-samuppada tells us just A conditions B, B conditions C, C conditions D, and so on. But it does not tell us how, in what way these two are conditioned, in what way A and B are related, and in what way B and C, C and D, D and E are related. In the patthana, the cause and effect, as well as the paccaya sati, or the force of causal relation, is stated. So in patthana, you may find the saying, A is related to B as a root cause, root condition, or as object condition, or as predominant condition, and so on. So Paticca-samuppada is like saying A and B are related. But patthana is like saying A and B are related as father and son or as brothers. So patthana is more comprehensive in treating the causal relations between different phenomena. And the teachers of old explain these two by mixing both methods. Now in Visuddhimagga and also in the commentary to Abhidhamma, especially a commentary on Vibhanga, Paticcasamuppada is explained with reference to patthana conditions as well. But here in this manual, they are treated separately. It is because it is very difficult for beginners to study Paticcasamuppada with reference to patthana, because you have to be familiar with patthana first so that you can really understand how avijja and sankhara are related and sankhara and vijnana are related. So in this book, in this manual, these are treated separately. So in the treatment of Paticcasamuppada, you will not find any mention of patthana. So now what is Paticcasamuppada? Now, it is a kind of law of cause and effect. And Paticcasamuppada is for living beings only. Now you must make this note. Paticcasamuppada does not explain the relationship between one matter and another outside living beings. So it will not explain why the world begins or whatever. It explains only the relationship of different factors belonging to animate beings. So it is the causal structure of the round of existence, the same thing. And this teaching of Paticcasamuppada is not the creation of the Buddha. The Buddha did not create the law of cause and effect or the structure of causal relations. This law is always in the world since the world came into being. The world means the world of living beings. So Buddha did not create, or Buddha did not give command, say, to avijja to produce sankhara and so on. But it is actually a law, a natural law. Since it is a natural law, it is always with the beings, and so Buddha was not the creator of this law. He was the discoverer of this law. And it is openly stated in many places. So whether the Buddhas arise or not arise, there is this element, this relatedness of states, or this regularity of states, this specific conditionality. And then Buddha comes and discovers it, penetrates into it. And having discovered it, having penetrated into it, he announces it, he teaches it, he makes it known, he establishes, he exposes, he expounds, and he explains it. And he says, observe it. So that is what our book said. So whether the Buddhas arise or not, there is this law of conditionality. Only beings did not know about it because it is hidden. And then Buddha came and Buddha discovered it and then showed it to the world. So it is like the law of gravity. The law of gravity is not created by Sir Isaac Newton. It comes along with the beginning of the arising of the world. But nobody knew that there was such a thing as a law of gravity until Newton discovered it and then revealed it to the world. So, in the same way, the Paticca-samuppada, the law of causation, is not created by the Buddha. Buddha was just the discoverer of it. And this teaching or this doctrine of Paticca-samuppada has something to do with bodhisattva. Now, as I think you remember how bodhisattva, while sitting under the Bodhi tree and trying to become the Buddha, he practiced vipassana on the 12 factors of Paticca-samuppada, on avijja, sankhara, and so on. Now, you all know that on the full moon day of May, Buddha approached the Bodhi tree and sat under it and then practiced breathing meditation. And he gained 4 jhanas successively, and then the other 4 arupavajara jhanas, and then he attained the supernormal knowledge by which he could remember all his past lives that he gained during the first watch of the night. And during the second or middle watch of the night, he gained another supernormal knowledge by which he saw beings dying from one existence and being reborn in another. During the last watch of the night, he entered into the 4th Rupavajara jhana and then emerged from it and practiced vipassana on these 12 factors of Paticca-samuppada. So he practiced vipassana on avijja, seeing avijja as impermanent, as suffering, and as insubstantial, anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So he practiced vipassana on all these 12 factors many, many times. In fact, according to what the book said, he practiced 1,000 billion times. That means practicing anicca, dukkha, anatta on each factor many, many, many times. So that was his vipassana. That is why it is called Mahavipassana. Bodhisattva's Mahavipassana. And after, say, contemplating on or practicing vipassana at the stage of the knowledge of comprehension, he again entered into the 4th jhana. And then emerging from that 4th jhana again, he practiced vipassana again and reached the knowledge of seeing, rising and falling, and so on. And he goes up one step after another, and ultimately he gained enlightenment. Now, why did he enter into the 4th jhana before practicing vipassana on Paticca-samuppada, and also after practicing vipassana on Paticca-samuppada? It is said that it is like sharpening the sword. So if when your sword have cut many tough objects, it becomes blunt, and so you have to sharpen it to use it again. So in the same way, Buddha wanted to sharpen, Bodhisattva wanted to sharpen his wisdom. So he entered into the 4th jhana and then emerged from it and practiced vipassana. So Paticcasamuppada was known to the Buddha even before his enlightenment. This we must understand. Not after his enlightenment. Even before his enlightenment, he knew Paticcasamuppada thoroughly, and that is why he practiced vipassana billions of times on the 12 factors of Paticcasamuppada. And that practicing of Paticcasamuppada helps him to attain the higher stages of vipassana and ultimately the gaining of enlightenment as a supreme Buddha. And after his enlightenment also, he contemplated on the Paticcasamuppada. Now, after his enlightenment, what did he do? Immediately after his enlightenment, he sat under the Bodhi tree for 7 days. So on the first night, during the first watch of the first night, he contemplated on Paticcasamuppada in due order and in the reverse order. Now, in due order means in the order of arising, because there is avijja as condition, sankharas arise. Because there are sankharas as condition, vijnana arise, and so on. And the reverse order means not going backward. Reverse order means because of the cessation of avijja, sankharas cease. Because of the cessation of sankharas, vijnana ceases, and so on. So this is the order of cessation. So both in the order of arising and in order of cessation, Buddha contemplated on Paticcasamuppada during the first watch of the night, and then he uttered a solemn utterance, and then during the second watch also he practiced in the same way, and he made another utterance, and during the third watch of the night also he practiced the same way and made another joyful utterance. And then on the seventh night, again, he contemplated on Paticcasamuppada in the order of arising for the first watch. And during the second watch, he contemplated on Paticcasamuppada in the order of cessation. And during the third watch of the night, he contemplated on both the order of arising and order of cessation. And then after that, on many occasions, he taught Paticcasamuppada many times during his 45 years of ministry. And we find the teaching of Paticcasamuppada both in the Sutanta and Abhidhamma. But Patthana you find only in Abhidhamma. And Buddha was so thoroughly acquainted with the structure of Paticcasamuppada that he taught in different ways. Now, when you are really familiar with something, a subject, you can pick up that subject at any point and then you can explain it. So in the same way, Buddha taught Paticcasamuppada not in the order from beginning to the end. Sometimes he went through this from the beginning to the end in sequence. Sometimes he may pick up something in the middle and went to the end. Like he may pick up Vedana and then say Vedana conditions, Tanha conditions, Upadana, and so on. Sometimes he may pick up the last, Jara-marana, old age and death, and then went backward to the beginning. Sometimes he may pick up something in the middle, say Tanha, and then went backward to avijja. So in different ways, Buddha taught Paticcasamuppada. And this Paticca-samuppada, the teaching of Paticca-samuppada, or the structure of conditionality, is said to be very deep. It is profound. Buddha himself said that it was profound. Now, once the Venerable Ananda said, Bhante, it's wonderful. Paticca-samuppada is profound, and it appears as profound. But to me, it looks like shallow. Ananda said like that. So when Ananda said like that, Buddha said, Ananda, don't say in that in this way. Do not say like this. Profound is this Paticca-samuppada, and profound it appears. So it looks like profound, and it is profound. It's difficult, deep. It is difficult to get into, difficult to understand. Both as a study and as intuitive understanding. Even as a study, it's not easy. We can just scratch the surface and leave it, or we can go deep in depth. If you want to study in depth, it's become very deep and difficult. So it is deep or profound, and to understand intuitively, to really understand from experience is more difficult. So Paticca-samuppada is not easy to understand. And Buddha said, it is profound and it looks profound, and it is because of not understanding this Dhamma that beings cannot transcend this samsara. Beings go round and round in samsara because they do not understand the Paticca-samuppada. Now, somebody may think that it is essential to understand Paticca-samuppada to gain enlightenment. And in Visuddhimagga also, the chapter of Paticca-samuppada is given as a beginning of the practice of vipassana, or in the section of Panya. So it may lead to the understanding that we need to understand Paticca-samuppada before we can practice vipassana meditation. Now, if you understand the Paticca-samuppada and if you understand Abhidhamma before you practice vipassana meditation, it is good. So it can help you clarify many of your experiences without having recourse to a teacher. But sometimes it may be a hindrance, because you know much about Abhidhamma and Paticca-samuppada, and you may want to analyze some experience you have met with, and so it will take you longer to get a real good concentration. So it can be a hindrance as well as a help. And there is one passage, let's say one sentence, in a sutta called Mahahati-Padopama Sutta. And we must understand that statement correctly according to the commentaries. There, the Mahahati-Padopama Sutta was expounded by the Venerable Sariputra. It was not expounded by the Buddha. In that sutta, there is one sentence. He who sees Paticca-samuppada sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees Paticca-samuppada. And that passage is interpreted as meaning by many people as meaning, if you know Paticca-samuppada, you know the Dhamma, and if you know the Dhamma, you know Paticca-samuppada. But here in this sutta, the Venerable Sariputta was not talking about Paticca-samuppada at all. He was talking about the four primary elements, and also he was talking about how the seeing consciousness and so on arise depending on the eye, and the object, and the attention. And then he said, the Buddha has said, he who sees Paticca-samuppada sees the Dhamma, and he who sees the Dhamma sees Paticca-samuppada. So, how are we to translate that sentence? Or how are we to understand that sentence? The commentary says that in this sentence, Paticca-samuppada means conditions, not the doctrine of dependent origination. Paticca-samuppada means conditions, and Dhamma means conditioned states. So this sentence simply means he who sees the conditions sees the also sees those that are conditioned, and he who sees those that are conditions also sees the conditions. Or to be brief, he who sees the cause also sees the effect, and he who sees the effect also sees the cause. So that is the meaning to understand. So we should not point out to that sentence and say that, oh, you must understand Paticca-samuppada so that you understand the Dhamma. So here Dhamma does not mean the doctrine as a whole, but here the word Dhamma means the effect or conditioned states, and the word Paticca-samuppada in this particular place means the conditions. So the Paticca-samuppada, or the teaching of dependent arising or dependent origination, is one of the two teachings that deal with causality of things. Now we will go to the formula of Paticca-samuppada. So you may look at the sheet. Avijja paccaya sankhara. Sankhara paccaya viññānam. Viññāna paccaya nama rupam. Nama rupa paccaya salayatanam. Salayatana paccaya phasso. Phassa paccaya vedana. Vedana paccaya tanha. Tanha paccaya upadana. Upadana paccaya bhavo. Bhava paccaya jati. Jati paccaya jaramaranam. Soka parideva dukkha domana supayasa sambhavanti eva mitassa kevalassa dukkha khandasa samudayo hoti. This is called anuloma. This is in the order of arising, not the order of cessation. Now, do you find number 11? I want you to put 11 instead of 12. So, Jati Paccaya should be 11, and then on the other column, before Jara Marana, please put 12. So there are 12 factors in this formula. So 11 jati paccaya, 12 jara marana, like that. Now, the word paticca samuppada, it is said in Visuddhimagga that paticca samuppada means causes or conditions. Because there is another word, paticca samuppanna, which means those that arise dependent upon conditions. So paticca samuppada is always made to mean the causes or the conditions. And some translate it as co-arising also. Now, co-arising itself, by itself, is not wrong, but it may lead to a misunderstanding. The meaning co-arising is explained in the commentaries in Visuddhimagga and commentary on Vibhanga. But there, co-arising means conditions arising together, or the effects arising together. So it is not that cause and effect arise together, not necessarily cause and effect arise together. So co-arising means causes arising together, effects arising together. That we must understand. Sometimes conditions and those that are conditioned may arise together. At other times, they may not arise together. So, in some links, the conditioning paccaya and the conditioned, say, paccayopana, they arise together. So in that case, we can say co-arising, to mean the arising together of both cause and effect, or both conditioning and conditioned. But say sankharapattaya vijnana, in that link, it is not arising together. They arise at different times. So co-arising means causes arising together or effects arising together. Now, with regard to the teaching of the cause and effect, Buddhism does not accept that there is no cause for anything to arise. This Buddhism does not accept. And it does not accept also the saying, the cause is the creation of God or creation of Brahma. This also Buddhism does not accept. What it accepts is, yes, things are conditioned by some other things, and that condition is not the creation or not the Brahma, but these their respective conditions or causes according to natural laws. So in paticca samuppada, this natural relationship between cause and effect will be explained. And in Buddhism, or let's say Buddhism teaches that conditions arise not singly, not alone. There are many conditions and there are many let's say effects. So there is not just one condition or one cause. There are many causes and many effects. So that is what is accepted in Buddhism. So there are four modes of cause and effect. One cause, one effect. One cause, many effects. Many causes, one effect. Many causes, many effect. Buddhism accepts only the fourth. The other three, it doesn't accept. So we must understand this also. But here in this formula, only one cause is given, avijja paccaya sankhara, right? But that is because they are the chief among the causes. They are prominent among the causes, and so they are singled out. But we must not understand that avijja is the only condition for sankharas, and sankharas are the only condition for vijnana and so on. Sometimes, because it is a chief cause, Buddha mentioned this. Sometimes it is prominent, and so it mentioned this. Okay, now avijja paccaya sankhara. Avijja means ignorance, and you know what ignorance means. It is moha, right? Oh, the translation of the sentences. Avijja paccaya sankhara. Because there is ignorance as condition, karma formations arise. Now this is the literal translation. The translation made by most authors is dependent on ignorance arise karmic formations and so on in the manual. But avijja paccaya means avijja as paccaya, as condition. And paccaya means because of the R at the end of that word means because of. So avijja paccaya means because of avijja as condition. Sankhara, and then we connect it with the word sambhavanti at the end. Sankhara sambhavanti. Sankharas arise. So because there is ignorance as condition, karma formations arise. Because there are karma formations as condition, consciousness arises and so on. Okay, avijja means moha. So moha concomitant with 12 akusala cetas. And this is not strange for you to you. You already know that. But sankharas are explained to have of three kinds. Not only three kinds, but I pick up only three kinds, because the others may be confusing. So there are three sankharas, let us say. The first is the formations of merit. The second, formation of demerit. And the third, formations of imperturbable. Formations of merit. Now, sankhara here means karma or cetana. So, formations of merit means cetana concomitant with kusala. But since the third one is to be imperturbable, that means to be arupa, we take here formations of merit to mean only kama vajra kusala and rupa vajra kusala. So formations of merit means cetana concomitant with 8 kama vajra kusala cetas and 5 rupa vajra kusala cetas. So they are called formations of merit. And formations of demerit, that's easy. Cetana concomitant with 12 akusala cetas. And formations of imperturbable means cetana concomitant with 4 arupa vajra kusala cetas. I don't know why they are separated as one formation. The arupa vajras are, because kama vajra and rupa vajra are put together as one kind of formation of merit, and the last is also formation of merit, but it is called formations of imperturbable. So because of avijja, ignorance, we acquire merit, or we acquire kusala or akusala, or we get jhanas because of avijja. Because we do not really see the true nature of things. We do merit, or sometimes we do akusala, demerit, or we acquire arupa vajra kusalas. Now avijja is explained in the manual as ignorance is the cetasika delusion, right? Moha, which obscures perception of the true nature of things. So because of avijja, we are unable to see the true nature of things, just as a cataract obscures perception of visible objects. According to the Sutanta method of explanation, ignorance is non-knowledge, not understanding of the Four Noble Truths. According to the Abhidhamma method, ignorance is non-knowledge of 8 things, Four Noble Truths, and then prenatal past, that means past aggregates, past existences. The post-mortem future, that means aggregates in the future lives. And the past and the future together, the aggregates of both the past and future. And then this one, dependent arising or dependent origination. So according to Abhidhamma method, ignorance or moha is not understanding of these 8 things. According to Sutanta method, avijja is not understanding the Four Noble Truths. So Abhidhamma method is wider than the Sutanta method here. And sankharas now, I already explained to you the sankhara. So because of this avijja, because we have this avijja as a latent tendency in our minds, we do merit, sometimes we do demerit, sometimes we practice samatha meditation and we may get arupavachara jhanas. So these sankharas arise dependent upon ignorance or avijja. Okay, now ignorance is a chief cause. That is why ignorance alone is mentioned here. Okay, the second one, sankhara paccaya vijnana. Because there are karma formations as condition, resultant consciousness arises. Although there is the word vijnana, which can mean all chetas, here it means only the resultant vipaka chetas, not all chetas. And vipaka chetas means both at patisanti and in life, not just patisanti. So vijnana here means resultant consciousness of vipaka chetas and not just patisanti chetas. And here vijnana means 32 mundane resultant chetas, 32 lokiya vipaka chetas. They are conditioned by cetana or sankhara. Now here sankhara means karma, so they are the results of karma. And 32 lokiya vipaka chetas, mundane resultant consciousness. So which sankharas cause which vijnana? You can find out from the 5th chapter on karma. As a result of, say, formation of demerit, what are the vijnanas? 7 akusala vipaka chetas, right? Something like that. So if you are familiar with the section on karma in the 5th chapter, you can explain here in detail. Now next one, vijnana paccaya nama rupam. Because there is consciousness as condition, nama, rupa, and nama rupa arise. Now, it is strange here. The word nama rupa does not mean just nama and rupa, but sometimes nama, sometimes rupa, sometimes nama and rupa. And here vijnana means 32 resultant chetas, the same as vijnana in number 2, but it also means karma formation consciousness. Karma formation consciousness means consciousness concomitant with mundane kusala and akusala is it chetas? Consciousness concomitant with chetas. So please change to chetana. So consciousness concomitant with mundane kusala and akusala chetana, not chetas. So vijnana can mean just vipaka vijnana, or here karma formation. In Pali it is called abhisankhara, karma formation consciousness. So consciousness concomitant with kusala and akusala chetana. Or sometimes it is all chetas. And nama here means 52 cetasikas. Because vijnana means consciousness, and so nama here does not mean consciousness. So it means 52 cetasikas, and rupa means all 28 material properties. Now, why do we say nama, rupa and nama rupa? Sometimes vijnana conditions nama only. Sometimes it conditions rupa only. Sometimes it conditions both nama and rupa. Now, in arupa vajra realm, vijnana conditions nama only, right? That means, say, vijnana arises there, and along with vijnana there are cetasikas. So vijnana is the condition, and cetasikas are those that are conditioned. Here, vijnana paccaya nama, not nama rupa, right? Then, what about mindless beings? In that case, vijnana paccaya rupa. Vijnana means karma formation consciousness, one of the karma formation consciousness, or to be exact, the fifth jhana consciousness. So in that case, vijnana paccaya rupa. But when it arises in 5 aggregate realms, like human realms, it conditions both nama and rupa. So the word nama rupa should be understood to mean sometimes nama, sometimes rupa, sometimes nama, both nama and rupa. So in this sentence, vijnana paccaya nama rupam, vijnana means 32 vipaka chetas, or kusala and akusala chetas, or all consciousness. And nama means cetasikas and rupa means rupa. Nama rupa paccaya salayatana. Because there are nama rupa and nama rupa as condition, the 6th base and 6-fold base arise. Now here, nama rupa means nama, rupa and nama rupa. And salayatana means 6th base and 6 bases. Sometimes 6th base, sometimes 6 bases. Here nama means again 52 cetasikas, and rupa means 4 primaries, 6 base matters, that means eye base, ear base and so on, and then jivita and ahara. If you don't understand all these, don't worry. And then 6 bases are the 6 internal bases. Eye base, now you know the 12 bases, right? Chakhayatana, Sotayatana and so on, right? So here 6 internal bases are taken. Eye base, ear base, nose base, tongue base, body base and mind base. Now, with regard to mind base, now what is eye base? Eye sensitivity, right? Ear base, ear sensitivity and so on. And what is mind base? How many chetas? Mind base means chetas, right? All cetas or just vipaka cetas? Look at the book. 4. Dependent on mind and matter arise the 6 sense bases. Here, mind and matter has the same denotation in step 3. Of the 6 bases, the first 5 bases are the sensitive matters of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, while the mind base denotes the 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. Now, in the explanation of how different nama rupa and nama rupa are related to 6 bases or the 6th base, the Visuddhimagga includes non-vipaka nama also. Both vipaka nama and non-vipaka nama. So according to that, anayatana, mind base, means both vipaka mind, vipaka ceta and non-vipaka cetas. Why is there this difference? Because when we try to understand what these terms, nama, rupa, salayatana, and so on, stand for, we have to go back to the book Vibhanga. And there, they are explained in 2 ways, Sotanta method and Abhidhamma method. According to Sotanta method, only resultant consciousness are taken. But according to Abhidhamma method, both resultant and non-resultant are taken. So in some books you may find that say mind base means all cetas. And in some books you may find mind base means just 32 vipaka cetas. Both are correct. The same with the salayatana, pacha, paso, and so on. In order to understand this, you have to understand the 5 causes in the past, 5 effects in the present, and 5 causes in the present, and 5 effects in the future. And that will come later. So, viññāna, nama rupa, salayatana, phassa, vedana. These belong to 5 effects in the present. Since they belong to the effect, they must be vipaka cetas. That is why, according to Sotanta method, manayatana, mind base, means just 32 resultant consciousnesses, and not all. But according to Abhidhamma method is all comprehensive, so it takes all. Okay, so because of nama, because of rupa, because of nama and rupa, there are 6 sense bases. And number 5 is salayatana paccaya phasso. Because there are 6 base and 6-fold bases as condition, contact arises. Now, here phassa means eye contact, ear contact, nose, tongue, body, and mind contact. What is eye contact? That is phassa concomitant with 2 chakku viññāna cetas. You see something and there is the chakku viññāna ceta, right? So there is the object which is seen, and there is the eye through which seeing arises, and there is seeing. When these 3 come together, what happens? What arises? Phassa arises, right? So phassa is not just coming together of these 3, but something that comes out of the coming together of these 3. Phassa is a distinct ultimate reality. So phassa is not just coming together of the three, but something that comes out of the coming together of the three. Like when I hit the desk, the sound is produced. So sound is not the coming together of my hand and the desk, but that which comes out of, or which is caused by, the coming together of my hand and the desk. So in the same way, phassa is not just coming together of the three, but something that arises out of the coming together of the three. And that is called here contact, and if the contact arises along with the seeing consciousness, it is called eye contact. And if arises with hearing consciousness, then it is called ear contact, and so on. Then mind contact. What is mind contact here? Phassa concomitant with mundane resultant cetas. That means how many mundane resultant cetas are there? 32. But you have to take the 10 out, right? So 32 minus 10, 22. So actually, phassa concomitant with the remaining 22 mundane resultant cetas. If you want to specific, you may add the 22 there. And 6 bases are, here 6 bases are taken to mean both sets of 6 bases. The internal 6 bases and external 6 bases. Here, eye base, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind base, right? They are internal. And then visible database, sound, odor, flavor, tangible database, and Dhamma base. So they are external. External bases are taken here according to the opinion of some teachers. So there are two groups of teachers. One group said this paticca samuppada is for living beings only, and so we need not worry about external things. So according to them, only the first 6 are meant by salayatana here. But another group said it's okay, because there is a relationship as conditioning and conditioned between the outside things and the consciousness of the beings. So according to them, the external bases can also be taken. That is why here 6 base, although the word means 6 bases, we have to understand 2 sets of 6 bases. So the internal bases, 6 internal bases and 6 external bases. So the phassa depends upon eye base, right? Actually, not only on eye base. It depends on eye base, eye consciousness, and visible data, right? Yeah. But eye base is the most prominent and the chief condition for it, and so here it's called eye contact. So in this way they are related. So when you do not have the eye sensitivity, you don't have eye consciousness, and so you don't have eye contact. If you do not have ear sensitivity, you don't have ear consciousness, and so no hear, no ear contact, and so on. So we can understand that phassa is conditioned by 6 bases. Phassa Vedana, because there is contact as condition, feeling arises. So feeling here means feeling born of eye contact and so on. Feeling born of eye contact. That means you see something and there are three, the visible object, eye sensitivity, and seeing consciousness. So because of these three coming together, there is contact. When there is contact, there is the experience of the object, which is called Vedana here. So in the manual, Vedana is described as a particular affective tone. Contact is the encounter of consciousness with the object, and that encounter is necessarily accompanied by a particular affective tone, experiencing of the object. Phassa is just the contact. I mean, it's something that joins the mind and the object. And then when they come into contact through phassa, then citta experiences the object, and that experience is called Vedana. As you know, there can be how many kinds of Vedana? 3 or 5 kinds of Vedana. But here, Vedana is said to be of 6 kinds. That is, feeling born of eye contact, ear contact, nose, tongue, body contact, and mind contact. When there is no phassa, there can be no Vedana. So we know that Vedana is conditioned by contact. So feeling may be pleasant, painful, or neutral. Vedana paccaya tanha, because there is feeling as condition, craving arises. Vedana here means first resultant sukha vedana, because Vedana and tanha, Vedana belongs to the 5 effects in the present. So here resultant sukha vedana is taken, or all resultant sukha, dukkha, and upekkha vedana can be taken. Or non-resultant vedana, that is added by the sub-commentary. So we can just leave it out. So vedana here means sukha vedana or sukha, dukkha, and upekkha vedana. And it conditions, or because of it, tanha, craving arises. So craving arises through sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, and upekkha vedana. Although craving is distinguished by way of its object, the craving itself actually depends on the feeling that arises through contact with that object. So craving depends on the experience. First you experience the object and then you like it. You are attached to it. So the craving needs vedana as a condition. If one experiences a pleasant feeling, one relishes that pleasant feeling and desires the object only insofar as it arouses the pleasant feeling. So when you have a pleasant feeling, you like it. So there is tanha. When you have a painful feeling, you don't like it, but there is tanha. How? Read on. On the other hand, when one experiences a painful feeling, one has a craving to be free from the pain, and one longs for a pleasurable feeling to replace it. So when you have painful feeling, you want it to disappear, and you want a pleasurable feeling. So tanha is conditioned by painful feeling also. And then what about neutral feeling? Neutral feeling has a peaceful nature, and this too becomes an object of craving. You can be attached to neutral feeling, because neutral feeling is like sukha vedana, a kind of sukha vedana, more subtle than sukha vedana, but still it is so good that you can be attached to it. So all these 3 kinds of feeling condition craving or tanha. Tanha, and then tanha is said to be of three kinds, right? What are the three kinds of tanhas? Kama tanha, bhava tanha, and vibhava tanha. They are explained where? In 7th chapter. Right? Oh yes, you can go back to page 297. They are explained in chapter 7, section 38, and they are explained here also. So there is kama tanha, bhava tanha, and vibhava tanha. Now kama tanha is craving for sense objects. Bhava tanha means craving concomitant with the eternalist view, or with the view that things are permanent. And vibhava tanha means craving concomitant with the view that things are annihilated after death, or at death. Now the first one, kama tanha. Oh, wait a minute. First we must understand the 6 tanhas explained in connection with paticca-samuppada. That is rupa tanha, saddha tanha, gandha tanha, rasa tanha, pottabha tanha, dhamma tanha. There are 6 kinds of objects, right? So craving for visible objects is called rupa tanha. Craving for sound is called saddha tanha, and so on. So first there are 6 kinds of tanhas. Each one of these 6 kinds of tanhas can be kama tanha or bhava tanha or vibhava tanha. Say you are attached to a visible object. If your attachment is by way of enjoying the sense object, it is kama tanha, kama rupa tanha, right? If your attachment is accompanied by the wrong view that you are permanent, that everything is permanent, then it is bhava rupa tanha. If your attachment is accompanied by the view that everything is annihilated at death and nothing more happens, then this is vibhava rupa tanha. So these six kinds of tanhas, each one of these 6 kinds of tanhas has these 3 varieties. So there are, if we multiply 6 by 3, we get how many? 18 kinds of tanhas. And each one of those 18 can be internal as well as external. So how many? 18 multiplied by 2, 36. And each one of these 36 can belong to present, past, future. So 36 multiplied by 3, 108. So this is what we call 108 kinds of tanhas. You may find this here and there in the books. So you need to understand, or you need to know how to calculate 108 kinds of cravings. You remember? First, there are 6 kinds of cravings. Craving for, say, sight, craving for sound, and so on, right? That is craving 6 kinds of objects. And then each one of them can be kama tanha, bhava tanha, or vibhava tanha. And each one of them can be internal or external. And each one of them can belong to past, present, or future. So 3 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 2, multiplied by 3. So we get 108 kinds of craving. Next one. Tanha paccaya upadana. Because there is craving as condition, clinging arises. You know, there are four upadanas. If you don't remember, you go back to the 7th chapter. So, sense object clinging, false view clinging, right and ritual clinging, and self-illusion clinging, actually. Kama upadana, Deity upadana, Sīlānanda upadana, Attavāda upadana. Among them, Kama upadana is lobha. Deity upadana, Sīlānanda upadana, and Attavāda upadana are deity. So in reality there are only two, lobha and deity. Yeah. Now what is the difference between tanha and upadana regarding kama upadana? Kama upadana is lobha. Tanha is also lobha. Now, weak lobha is tanha, and strong lobha is upadana. In the books it is said that longing for an object that has not reached is tanha. That means before you get it, you want it, you are attached to it. That is tanha. Like the thief stretching his hand in the dark to get something. Upadana is the attachment to the object which you have arrived at, which you have caught. It is like the thief taking hold of the thing. So once he has taken hold of the thing, he will not let it go. So that is strong attachment. So not so strong attachment is tanha, and strong attachment is upadana. So at the moment of tanha, you may be able to let it go, but when you reach the stage of upadana, you will not let it go. You have firmly grasped it. And tanha is the opposite of fewness of wants. And upadana is the opposite of contentment. You don't want many things. So that is the opposite of tanha. And you are not attached to anything. You are not clinging to anything. You do not grasp at anything. And that is like contentment. When you are content, you don't want anything more. Okay. So, lobha as tanha and lobha as upadana has this kind of difference. But in reality, tanha is lobha and kama upadana is also lobha. So this strong grasping or strong attachment can arise only when there is a weak attachment or weak desire. So that is why tanha is said to be a condition for upadana. Upadana paccaya bhava. Because there is clinging as condition, becoming arises. Now bhava. We must understand that there are two kinds of bhavas. The first is called kamma bhava. Although it is bhava or becoming, it is not existence as we understand it. So here bhava means something that causes some other thing to be. Kamma bhava means cetana and covetousness or abhijja, etc., concomitant with it. So that is kamma bhava. Upapati bhava means resultant aggregates and rupa born of karma. So that means existence. Now at the moment of Bodhisattva, you know, for human beings, at the moment of Bodhisattva, what arises? Bodhisattva Chaita, Chaitasikas, and Rupa born of karma, right? So here, result and aggregate means Bodhisattva Chaita and Chaitasikas. Rupa born of karma means Rupa born of karma. So that is Upapati bhava. So in this link, Upadana paccaya bhava, bhava means both kamma bhava and upapati bhava. Now when you have grasped at something, when you have clung to something, then you do something. So the clinging to things leads to action. And that action is what is called kamma bhava. Action means acting right or acting wrong. So depending upon the clinging, sometimes you act right, sometimes you act wrong. So when you act wrong, then you get akusala kamma bhava, and when you act right, you get kusala kamma bhava. And as the result of this upadana through kamma bhava, there is upapati bhava. Upapati bhava means rebirth, actually, rebirth in the next existence. So rebirth in the next existence can also be said to be caused by or conditioned by upadana. So in the sentence upadana paccaya bhava, bhava means both kamma bhava and upapati bhava. But in number 10, bhava paccaya jati, bhava means kamma bhava only and not upapati bhava, because upapati bhava and jati are the same. So A cannot be the condition for A, B cannot be the condition for B. So upapati bhava cannot be a condition for jati, which is the same as upapati bhava. So here in this sentence, bhava paccaya jati, bhava means only kamma bhava. So because there is kamma bhava, there is jati. So kamma bhava and sankhara are the same, right? The word sankhara here means what? Formations of merit, formations of demerit, formations of imperturbable, and so that means kusala and akusala karma. Here also kamma bhava means kusala and akusala karma. So sankhara and kamma bhava are the same. Then why mention twice? They belong to different times. We'll come to that later. Okay. Jati paccaya jara maranang. One small, let's call sentence. And then soka parideva dukkha domana sa upayasa sambhavanti. because there is birth as condition, aging and death arise. Now, when there is birth, there is inevitably aging and death. So, when there is birth, you cannot avoid becoming old, and you cannot avoid death. So, they are the inevitable result of birth. Because we had birth as a human beings, one day, or not one day, every day we are getting older and older, and one day we will die. So birth is the basis of getting old and dying. So birth is a condition for aging and death, which two are inevitable result of birth. But sorrow, lamentation, bodily pain, mental pain, and burning in the mind, which is translated as despair, burning in the mind, they may or they may not arise. So they are not inevitable result of birth. So they are incidental consequences of birth. That is why they are separated. Jati paccaya jara maranang. That is one small sentence. And then soka parideva dukkha domana supaya sasambhavanti. Like that. So in the English translation also, because there is birth, there is condition, aging and death arise. And then sorrow, lamentation, bodily pain, mental pain, and burning in mind arise. Now, consider rebirth as Brahma. Will there be sorrow? For the Brahmas, will there be sorrow? Huh? Yes or no? And why? Huh? If you say yes or if you say no, I will ask why. Yes or no? You go back to the 3rd chapter. Huh? Can Brahmas have dosa mula chetas? No. So Brahmas have no sorrow, right? Will they cry? Lamentation? No. Bodily pain? No. Mental pain? Maybe. Right? Burning in the mind? Not likely. So these are the incidental consequences. They may or they may not arise. That is why they are put separately from jara and marana. But jara marana, they are inevitable. So long as there is jadi, you are going to get jara and marana. You cannot run away from these two. But if you are reborn as a Brahma, even if you are a Brahma, then you will get all these things. So these are the incidental consequences, and the manual will say it later on also. Eva metasa kevalasa dukkha khandasa samudayo hodi. Thus there is the arising of this whole mass of suffering. So according to the Buddha, what we think to be happiness is included in this whole mass of suffering. Why? Why do we say that happiness is suffering? Because happiness has a beginning and an end. So happiness is oppressed by arising and disappearing. So it falls under the head of dukkha. So it is called suffering. So we must when we understand suffering, we must understand to that extent. So everything in the world is actually suffering, because everything in the world has a beginning and the end. Now this is what we call the Anuloma formula, or in the order of arising. And only this formula is given here in this manual. There is another formula which is called Pati Loma, that is reverse order, but here reverse does not mean going backward. it means reverse of arising, so it is cessation. Now, the truth of being, rebirth, linking, and the structure of conditions are four things very hard to see and likewise difficult to teach. It is stated in Visuddhimagga and also in the commentary to Vibhanga. Now, the truth means the Four Noble Truths are difficult to see and they are also difficult to teach. And about a being is difficult to understand and difficult to teach. And then rebirth linking, Patisandhi, is difficult to understand and also difficult to teach. And this structure of conditions means this Paticca Samuppada is also difficult to understand, difficult to see or difficult to understand, and also difficult to teach. So there are four things that are both difficult to understand and difficult to teach. And they are the Four Noble Truths, about a being, rebirth, and Paticca Samuppada. Whoever learns alertly this discourse will go from excellence to excellence. And when perfected, he will then escape beyond the vision of the King of Death. So, it is just encouragement for first learning the structure of conditions or Paticca Samuppada. So now we come to the end of the formula, and then next week we'll study some other aspects of this formula.
So Nama is 52.
Yes.
One day, some book I read, some book I borrow from Sarah. Some books say only 52, say only 35. I don't know that book, and I need your help. Is that 35, is that right or wrong? They say only 35, also say with Vipaka.
That depends on what Vijnana means. So if Vijnana means only 32 resultant chetas, it may not be 52 cetasikas. I just told you that there are two methods, right? Sotanta method and Abhidhamma method. Following the Sotanta method, with regard to Vijnana, Namarupa, Salana, Phassa, Vedana, you take only those are resultant. But according to Abhidhamma method, you take all. So I think both are correct. Depending on which it is based on.